welcome to the Golden Hour and the Manifest to Live Life Golden Show. I'm Golden Duffy, your host, and today we're going to be talking all about getting curious about how to respond in new ways to life. Instead of having these knee-jerk reactions, instead of reacting to life and creating from chaos, how do we pull away from that? How do we create a little bit of space to live from the faith of life, to live from a more strengthened position in our alignment with what we are looking to manifest? That's what this show is going to be about. So I'm really excited to share all the things that have been coming through about this particular topic. And I actually have I did a post on Facebook today, and I am recording. This is recorded live. I did not do a show last week, so if you caught the rerun, it's always good to watch shows again because they will reintroduce something to you and you may be in a different place to receive it. So it's always good to watch shows over again or to go back to the beginning and watch some of the basic shows that I've done before. It's always good to revisit for that reason because we're always evolving, we're always changing, and we're going to hear messages in a different way at different times in our life. So this show comes to you because of a post that I did this morning, and it was all about how you could become more curious. So at this point in your life, instead of having the same reactions, instead of freaking out or resisting what's happening or pushing against what's happening, what if instead you got curious and you asked questions like, not why this is happening, like why is this happening to me? Not in that context, but like sitting down and getting quiet and asking, where is the benefit for this in me? Where's the benefit for me in this? Can I see where the lesson is? Can I see what I need to see in order to evolve and change that this particular circumstance is calling me to? And if you have a situation that is a cycle, like it keeps happening over and over and over again, let's say it's something to do with like your finances, and you constantly find yourself at the end of the month without enough money, or like you just have enough money to cover your mortgage or your rent, and you're not feeling very abundant. You're feeling the constriction of that, or you're feeling like, your rent just comes in time. And you're dealing with a lot of survival, right? Like that's being in survival mode, not having enough money to cover your bills, not having enough money to pay your rent. That is the ultimate in survival mode, or being homeless. That's the ultimate in survival mode, right? So when you're in those positions, you're in a very desperate energy. Your alignment is with desperation. Your alignment is with lack. It's not enough. You could be, and I've actually just watched someone in my personal life do this, and it was absolutely amazing to see the transformation that occurred. And I've been coaching with this person for a long time and just instructing how to actually start to get into the alignment of abundance. And a big piece of this is to get more curious about the way that you're responding. So if an unexpected bill comes or rent is coming and you don't think you're going to have enough, how do you respond? What is your stressor, right? Like what is your tendency to, like, what is that emotion that you tend to go towards? Is it stress? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it like, that helplessness, that hopelessness, that feeling like you can't breathe? Like getting in touch with all of these tendencies is the first part to the awareness of changing it. It doesn't change anything by knowing your tendencies, but it does begin the process of shifting how you are responding to these things. So as you morph and grow and start to understand that this is a cycle, and in order for me to change the cycle, I don't necessarily need to get a new job. I don't need to create more income. I don't necessarily need to do that. But I do need to make some changes energetically, and then I need to follow the energy to actually create something different physically. So the first part is always the energetics, right? It's the wave behind me. It's beginning to transform that energy that is coming out of you. Because if the energy and the signal that's coming out of you is always from lack and constriction and fear and not having enough and being in survival, you won't be able to conduct a new wave of abundance and gratitude and being really excited for life and really bringing in the abundance that you are so worthy of. Huge piece of this puzzle, right? This life puzzle that we're all a part of, and we're all processing, and we're all trying to figure it out, and we're all trying to do it right, and we're all trying to get by, and we're all trying to survive, right? Like all those pieces, right? That we are experiencing on a moment to moment basis, it all comes down to feeling the truth and the worthiness of who you are. The truth that you are here as infinite intelligence, you are an expression of all that is, that you are on this journey as this one who wanted to be here, who wanted to experience life to the fullest, who wanted to sift and sort and figure things out and come to new awarenesses and come to new manifestations, because you were in it to be aware. You were in it to look at things in a new way, to be curious, to study things, to research things, to listen to things that are going to make you become more as an individual, more as a being here on this earth plane. So that's the really cool part about it, is that at any moment in our lives, we can get super curious about what's happening, and we can actually shift the entire energetic realm. And that to me is so much fun. I've been actually doing some coaching. I stepped back into coaching and realized recently just how much I love coaching, especially when you're coaching with someone who really gets it and they're really making the changes and the shifts are happening and the evidence is clear. And the evidence is so, it just jazzes me. The evidence is so abundant and so obvious when we start to make these little shifts and we notice, right? Like we take the evidence, we notice, we celebrate it, we amp it up into even more. It's a assured thing. It's assured thing, assured. It's assured because it's a law, right? Law of attraction says like attracts like. So as we change our vibration, as we shift our alignment, as we, make these little shifts in the energetic field of how we feel, then we see evidence of it. And that's what builds our confidence. We can do it in the little things to build our confidence towards the bigger things. And that totally gets me really excited. I really, really love that about this and doing this with people and teaching this to people, because when you see it happening, right? Like when you see the magic happening, you go, oh my goodness, I'm so part of something so much bigger than like this life here. I'm so much more a part of like this non-physical expression of the stream of consciousness. And that becomes really fun and really, really real, really cool. Okay. It all begins with getting curious. So it first begins with having a circumstance that happens. Maybe it's something that's been happening over and over and over again. Usually there's like these cycles. And if we want to break out of cycles, we have to break out of programming. We have to get out of the neural loops that are in your head. We got to break free from it. And how do we do that? How do we take our power back from a programming that we may not be totally aware of, right? Like there's that subconscious piece of it. Well, we do that by asking questions. How do we get in touch with the subconscious stuff that's going on? We ask questions. We sit down. We get quiet with ourselves. We face these things. We get honest, right? Like we get truthful with ourselves and we go, you know what? This isn't freaking working and I don't want to do this anymore. So I've got to start asking the questions of what's going to uncover the alignment of this chaos so that I can realign myself with something else. I can readjust, right? I can re-assimilate into a different part of this reality. It's all an assimilation, you guys. All right. So when it comes to change, when it comes to that curiosity, the questions that you want to ask are, sit down, get quiet. If you need help, I have my M21 Revolution group on Facebook. It is a great resource. We currently have a challenge going on right now. It's a free group to join, and it's a donation-based challenge. So we suggested donation was $50, but we had donations all over the place. $100, $20. We had them all over the place. Most people did 50, because that kind of helps you put some skin in the game. And it's a 21-day challenge, and you can get in there right now and you can start today. Just look up, search day one, spring 2025 challenge, and you'll see the very first meditation. So we're giving you a guided meditation in the morning. We're giving you something to think about. In the afternoon, we give you something to think about, something to contemplate. We give you questions. We're helping people to initialize in their life, right? Like to initiate a new story, to initiate with new beliefs, to initiate a new alignment with the life that they actually want to create. That's what it is. It's like an initiation, right? I'm going to initialize. I'm going to start to realize these things, and I'm going to start making them part of my life experience, because I have the power to do that. That's the stance that we're taking. I have the power to do that. I have the power to change. I have the power to think different. I have the power to influence energy by how I feel, by how I decide, by how I wake up in the morning, by how I greet people. I mean, when you greet somebody with a enthusiasm and a hello, and not everybody's there with you, that's for sure. But how good it feels to feel that way about life. So if you're just walking around in the mundane and you're just getting by and you're in survival and you're just like, oh, can't do this much longer. If you're doing that, what do you think the signal is that you're sending to the universe? Not for anything new and exciting, not for anything of abundance. That's not in alignment with abundance. That's more struggle. That's more strife. That's more survival energy. So you have to get out of those low vibrational loops. And that's all they are, is a loop. It's a belief system, and a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. So as soon as today, you can say, I've had enough of that. I'm going to break up with the tendency to do that. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to decide for myself that this is my life. Now, will you go back to that? Maybe a little bit, and that's okay. But usually once you make a decision, those solid decisions work really well in the energetic field. So, for the most part, now, if you're a person who has a hard time, making commitments to yourself and keeping promises to yourself, then today needs to be a new day for you as well. Because if you don't show up and you can't commit to yourself and you can't make promises to yourself that you follow through with, then what are you doing? Like, what are you doing here? Like, why would you continue a cycle that just keeps you miserable? It doesn't really make sense, right? So by pushing through that a little bit, pushing through that tendency to give up or procrastinate or whatever that tendency is, you're going to show yourself something very different, and you're going to connect with a very intentional side of yourself. Everyone has this. Don't believe you don't have it. Don't say, I've always been a quitter, so I'm always going to be a quitter. Don't do that to yourself. Align with something new. Align with a new perspective of yourself, which says, I do what I say I'm going to do. I intend to connect with this part of myself, to follow through, and to not be in survival. And that's what I'm going to do. So when you sit down, you get quiet, and you start to ask the questions. Okay, so you have something less than optimal that happens, or maybe it's the end of the month and you don't quite have your rent again. Just ask, what am I doing? What energy am I promoting that's creating this scenario? And what do I need to release to step out of it? Those are two really good questions. And then the third question is, what is this newfound place that I want to go, right? This new abundant person or character or, life. What is this new abundant life calling me to be? What is it calling from me? Is it calling me to look for a new job? Is it calling me to have a new attitude? Is it calling me to be more grateful? What is it that's going to align me with this new situation? So let's say it's a relationship, right? Let's say the relationship you're in is not great, and you want to stop the cycles and the programming that has happened within this relationship, right? Like you've gotten in a low vibe with each other, you're getting on each other's nerves, maybe you're blaming each other, maybe you're fighting, maybe you're not communicating, maybe you're in silent treatment. Sitting down, getting real with yourself and saying, what is this relationship calling me to be? In what new ways can I respond to this relationship to shift the energy and to open the lines of communication? And you'll get answers. You're going to get answers when you ask questions, and then you can just journal them out, because the answers that come from getting real with yourself and sitting down are the best answers that you can get. They're better than anybody else's information you can ask for, anybody else's opinion that you can ask for. You're better off sitting down and getting it from your higher state of guidance, that higher state of consciousness where you have guidance, right? You have this guidance that's telling you exactly what's going to be right for you. Exactly, like maybe it's telling you to end the relationship. If you've had that on your heart for a long time and you keep getting, I should end this relationship, then maybe you should take a look at that. Maybe you should look at what the reality of that is. Because I think a lot of times, and I'm not telling you to end your relationship, but I think a lot of times what happens with people and why they stay in relationships that have already served their purpose is because they are fearful of the unknown. And this is with anything. If you want to move across the country, if you want to quit your job and get a new job, if you want to start a business, this is with anything. That fear of the unknown is what stops us every single time. That, oh, I'm just more comfortable here, right? I'm more comfortable in this uncomfortable place. It's like, it's a total lie, first of all, because you're miserable and because you keep getting called to something else. You're not really doing what you would benefit from. So what can I do now that I would really benefit from? What is the energy field calling me to next is such a great question. And sometimes it's more about allowing and receiving than it is about doing and desperation. So there's a very fine balance here, a very fine balance between going out and making it happen and allowing and receiving the energy to tell the energy will tell you what to do next. So I've shared this before. Sometimes we're trying to make decisions too fast. Sometimes we're trying to make decisions before the field has enough time to break down into particles and become more. So what happens with this wave, right? Little quantum physics, little beginner stuff, is we have the thoughts, we have the feelings, it starts to go out into a wave, and then it takes a little time energetically. This is why the better you can feel, the more peace you can feel, the more like grace you can feel, the better you can feel, the faster the energy is going to move, because you're not slowing it down with your misery and your resistance and your constriction and all of that. The wave has a better chance to become something new and to break down into particles that become matter when we are feeling really good. So as it breaks down, we've got this energetic gap, right? The energy we're aligning with energy, and then the physical energy is taking time. And a lot of times in this gap, we get super miserable, right? Like we get miserable about the timing. We know what we want. We said what we wanted. We put some activations in place. We aligned with it. We're feeling good, but then it's not happening. And then we start to dip, and then we start to drop our vibration, and then we're misaligned with it. And then it can't come. It can't come as fast. It can't come as cool. It can't come as magical, because we're slowing it down and we're in resistance to the energy of what is. If you can sit in this space and be excited, be in, excited expectation, right? Positive expectation, and not needing it to be different, but having some gratitude for where you are, then it's going to come a lot faster, and it's going to surprise you, and it's going to delight you. And it's also going to feel like the next logical step. So the first thing to do is to start getting curious, like, all right, so far, what I've been doing has not been working, right? Like, we got to get honest about that. Like, this has been 10 years or 15 years or 20 years that I've been wanting to do this thing, and it's still there. It's still in my heart. It's still calling to me. So what can I do differently? How can I think about this differently? How can I respond to life in a new way that's going to cause new activations, that's going to cause new orchestrations for me? That's what happens when we shift energy, as things start to orchestrate. Like we call on, like that's the other piece of this. I'm going to just go to my Facebook post because it's actually might even be worth reading. All right, you know what? I'm going to read it. I'm just going to read it because it feels right. You could be more curious. At this point in your life, instead of having the same reactions and getting upset when things don't go your way, you could try something new. This is what I'm bringing you to today. You could begin asking more questions and getting curious about what you are being shown. You could start viewing each experience as an invitation to greater clarity and begin seeking what life wants to teach you. Every time you have gone through challenges, you have come out wiser on the other side. Don't forget that. What if you decided in the beginning that things are happening for you and you walked in faith towards the solutions? Instead of gripping and fighting against, you could go with the flow more and trust that better things will come of the new desires and clarity you are gaining. You could pause more, contemplate more, and learn what it is that would end cycles of creating from chaos. You could give up fear, doubt, and worry because you know they bring you more of what you don't want. Truth. You could ask your divine counterpart for assistance and stop feeling all alone in this. You're not alone. You've got like this non-physical team that you can call on and invite in. They're literally waiting for us to invite them in. And once you uncover, this is the higher road to awareness that will allow you to connect with new ways of being. And once you uncover some of this new information, your life transforms. You become more at peace and walk in the faith that moves mountains. You are now connected with the right questions that will bring the new answers that help you create great changes. What if you respond differently? What if? What if you responded in new ways? What if instead of, and see, this is the trick here. I think what trips people up is many don't have the emotional intelligence or enough space, right? Like there's no space between their reaction and what's happening. So something happens and they react, and we all do it. And I still do it. I still have a reaction that can often be negative. I will completely admit that. And luckily I have people around me to help catch me, but also I'm catching myself. But it's not about perfection. If it was about perfection, I would be perfect. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. And it's about recognizing when you're going into those negative spaces, when you're fighting life, when you're resisting what's happening, when you're trying to push it away and it's coming at you full force, right? It's an inclusion-based universe. So everything you try to eliminate is going to be included because it's all based on your focus. So as this circumstance happens, it's making a decision in that moment and having a little bit of space. Now, if you don't have a meditation practice, I'm going to shake you. I'm going to shake you. Because the meditation is what's going to give you the space. The meditation is what's going to help you get into higher states of consciousness where you have some say over the way you are responding to life. You become more of a responder and less of a reactor, right? But if you're triggered all the time, if you've got these wounds you're not dealing with, if you're just rushing through life and you're in business mode all the time and you got that fight or flight thing like dialed high, right? Your stressor is dialed high, then you're not going to have a chance to be able to be like this. You don't, it's not available to you because you're not in the realm of even deciding that is something you could experience, right? You're dialed, your frequency is dialed so high in stress that you don't have the ability to actually be calm and chill out, right? To be more of like a chill person. Like let's not get so agitated all the time. There's no reason to be agitated all the time, right? I was, this is hilarious. I was driving yesterday, and in California, we have a lot of pedestrians. So when you're turning right, and this is still something I think I'm getting used to 10 years later, when you're turning right and the light turns green, if a pedestrian is coming, they have the right of way. So you have to be very aware of people in the crosswalk. Now, I looked up the law yesterday, and if somebody's in the crosswalk, and our crosswalks can be very big, they can be like 6 lanes, right? If they're all the way across the crosswalk, you can go, because waiting for them is like, you're not causing a hazard to them if you go, right? So they're not, to me, it's like if they're not past the median, like the middle line of the road, then I feel like it's okay to go. And I looked it up, and it's not actually a law to have to sit there and wait. So as long as you're not causing hazard to a pedestrian. So there's a person in front of me. I can't see them. I'm listening to a podcast, so I'm not totally like aware. And the light turns green and they don't move. And all I can see, it's a minivan. So all I can see is like the back of them. So I honk my horn. And then the guy kind of does this, and I look and I go, oh, there's a pedestrian there. Okay. So I see the woman, and she's walking, and she gives this huge wave to the person in front of me. And then and if you're not watching YouTube or E360, you can't see this, but this was so funny. She sees me and she gives me this look like, like, what is your problem? Right. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm sorry. And I just had this huge smile on my face when I thought, lady, do you have any idea who you're talking to? Like, I'm like the kindest person in the world. I let people go all the time. I'm not like this crazy person. I just didn't see you. I wasn't aware of you. I thought this person was on their phone at the light. Happens all the time here. So cut me some slack, right? So like this tendency to be agitated and aggravated with people who could simply just be making a mistake, but I'm a stranger. And she got herself all worked out over a stranger who didn't actually see her in the crowd. It's bonkers. So we got to stop doing this. We got to stop having our buttons so out in the world that anybody can push them at any time, because you're in a level of cortisol, right? Like you're pumping cortisol, which is so not healthy for you. You're in a level of frequency that makes you so ripe and ready and raw for issues, for frustration, for impatience, for crap to happen to you in the universe, right? Like you're beaming a signal that just says, mess with me. So that's why we got to get better about that. That's why we got to get a little more chill and a little less reactive. Because if that woman had taken a second to realize that I didn't actually see her, it might have made her day better. It didn't affect my day at all, except the fact that I laughed about it. I called a friend and told her about it, not from a place of aggravation, but from a place of observing humans and tendencies, right? That brought me to a good conversation here. So I feel like I got benefit from it, because I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person who's angry with people and who's, quick to anger and quick to judge and quick to not feel compassion for others. I just think that life is so much better when we're in this frequency of kindness and trust and faith and worthiness. I just feel like that's when life just gets better and better and better and better. And it is truly a momentum that you set up from your foundation. So one of the things that I've been noticing in the M21 group is that people are creating this very peaceful foundation for themselves. And then it's shining through their whole life, right? It bleeds through the whole life. Like, because we create that foundation first thing in the morning, we set a strong intention for our day. We set a strong intention to let go, to be in the allowing and receiving mode of things of a higher state. That's what happens when we quiet our mind. It's amazing. And if you've tried it and it hasn't worked for you, I would implore you to do it again, but do it from a perspective of, I'm going to have thoughts. That's okay. But I'm creating space. I'm going to create space. And the more space I can create between my thoughts, the more space I'm going to have to respond to life, to be curious about life, to gain new perspectives in life, right? Like that's what the hawk does. The hawk rises above so it can see, right? It can see all the different perspectives. We want to be in the hawk eye view. We don't want to be down on the ground, scrounging, right? We want to be higher than what things are happening. And the only way to get into a higher state of perspective is to be curious. It's not to be so close to something, like to be so, right? So beelined on it. So like, this is the way it is. This is the way it's always been. This is the way it can only be. Like when we're like that, we're shutting all the doors. We're creating this chaos for ourselves, right? Setting ourselves up in these tendencies that don't allow for universal orchestration or our divine counterpart to come in. So we want to open the field. We want to create space. We want to allow. We want to receive. We want to believe in our worthiness to create wonderful things in this life experience, right? Doesn't that sound so much better than the mundane and the survival and I got to go to work and I hate this and my relationships suck and all of that? It's so much better to realize that you have some control, you have some power, you have some ability. I'm realizing that he's got a little, he had a little reflection on him. Really interesting. This picture is always behind me, but he's usually like over here. And I don't know if it happened when I was cleaning or if it was just like he wanted to move and he moved himself, but he has suddenly turned himself this way, which I'm going to turn him back so you can see him. But he faces the window when he does that. This Buddha. I love it. Okay. But I'm going to turn him so you can see him because he's one of my favorites. I actually have this in a really big thing over my fireplace. If you've ever seen my Facebook pictures, he's over my fireplace. And my daughters bought it for me. And this is Brian Zion. He's on Instagram. Incredible artist. He's in Laguna Beach. And he has one of these that is even bigger. It's like a life size and it's $7,000 and I will purchase that. I told him, I said, you're going to save that for me. And he took it home. Now he has it in his house, just waiting for me to purchase it. And I believe that. And I'm going to have a space for it. I actually don't have a wall in my house right now for that. So big things are coming, people. Big things are coming. You got to trust. You got to believe. You got to be in the knowing. Okay. So curiosity is your very first step. Let's go back to this thing that I just read because I really love it. And I really feel like it is, it's kind of my guiding post today. So instead of gripping and fighting life, if you were to take a circumstance, right, like something terrible happens or something that's, not optimal, and you were to sit with it instead of your normal tendency, what does that look like, right? If you just pause and you contemplate and you ask, what am I receiving from this? Where's my growth in this? What am I being called to next? What is life calling me to next? This is all about up-leveling. It's all about up-leveling. The reason why I didn't do a show last week is because I had a terrible throat situation. And I have not had anything like this in a really long time. So it was surprising. And I definitely felt like it was kind of like an integration. Like many times when there's an illness, I'll always ask the questions, right? Like, what is this for me? What is happening? Why am I experiencing these symptoms? And, throat is always like your throat chakra is clearing. You're owning yourself. You're owning your voice more. You're speaking up. You're not afraid to be seen. You're not afraid to speak from your knowledge and your wisdom. So I felt like there was definitely a clearing that was happening there. So you can do this with anything. You can do it with any kind of illness, any kind of cycle, any new thing that comes that's just like outlandish and out of the ordinary. And you're like, what is happening and what's going on with this? And what am I learning here? Where is my growing edge in this? And how can I get the most benefit out of this journey? So it's like this thing happened and it really sucks. How can I get the most out of it? How can I see the greatest benefit? How can I see the most magic? How can I see the universal orchestration? And am I inviting in my divine counterpart? That's the biggest thing, because you're not alone in this. And if you feel all alone, then you're boxing yourself out, right? I just had a conversation with someone about, feeling like you don't belong. And I had this awareness recently. I have one daughter who kind of feels like the black sheep of the family. She feels very different than everybody else. She's definitely our most spiritual. And we all get along and we all resonate. But I do notice, like, when we're all together, that she will put herself apart. Like, she will go off and wander and not be with us and do things that cause a disconnection. And I'm like, but you're doing that. We're not doing that. You're doing that. And I could say the same thing about myself, as being the black sheep in the family and not being a part of my biological family. I could say, I didn't belong there. They didn't want me there. I could say all those stories. But no, my story is it's a misalignment, that I am where I am because it's where I want to be. And it wasn't where they wanted to be. And that's okay. I think the biggest part of it is being okay with all of it and not taking it personally. If you've never listened to The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, it's such a good book. Do not take anything personally. Do not make assumptions. Assumptions get us in so much trouble. How many times have you made up stories about people and circumstances that were absolutely untrue, but they hurt you? Your own assumptions hurt you. I have a friend who does this all the time, and I'm like, why are you assuming that? Why don't we assume what you want to happen? Why don't we assume the better of people, right? Why don't we just think the best about someone? Because if we think the best about someone, they're going to show us the best. If we think the worst, they're going to show us the worst. It's a signal that we're sending. So watch your assumptions, because assuming it makes an ass out of you and me. That's what we always say around here. When you make those assumptions, and when you make negative assumptions, you're creating negatively. And I know it's a tendency. I got it. I get it. I so get it. It's taken me a long time to train my brain, and I still have tendencies that make me go, what am I doing? Right? Or my husband's like, what are you doing? Thank God thank God I don't get mad at him for that, because we can, right? Like, we can get mad at people that are trying to help us. And instead I go, damn, you're right? That's introspection. That's going, where is my stuff in this? Right? Instead of going, oh, he's a jerk for telling me that. No, he loves me. He supports me. That's my belief about him. That's why I don't get angry about those things. I just think, I don't think he's judging me. I think he's helping me to course correct. That's what he told me the other day. It's a course correction. I'm like, I love a course correction. Who doesn't love a course correction? If you're off course, you get corrected, you're back on course. Who doesn't love a course correction? I love it. Course correct yourself. Catch yourself when you're in those assumptions, when you're in those low belief systems, when you're in those bad stories. Catch yourself and course correct, right? Like, when I beeped the horn at that guy, I was sorry. I was like, I'm sorry, right? I course corrected. I'm sorry. I didn't lay on the horn a bunch of times. I beeped a little bit, right? Okay. I'm letting that one go. After that story, it's gone. I told enough people. I've learned enough lessons, right? And that's the other thing. Like, are we repeating the same stories over and over again? Are we just reliving the past over and over again? I find it so interesting, especially with people who had a very charged up past, or they were very worthy in their past, and they don't feel that much worthiness anymore. Like, they're not doing the same cool job, or they're not, going through the same trauma, right? Because we get addicted to the drama. We get addicted to the attention. So then we just end up telling the story all the time. because this is who I am, and this is why I am who I am, and this is what I identify with. And quite honestly, guys, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the past unless somebody's going through a similar experience than what you went through. Nobody really wants to hear about you dragging the past. I'm gonna be honest. Be honest. It's just it's a suck of an energy. It's a suck of your energy. It's a suck of their energy. And it just sucks. Like there's just no reason for it. Why are we reliving the past? Why are we not turning the page? Why are we not more excited about what we're doing today or what we are sending to our future than we are about the past that's over and done with, right? I wonder if we could get better about telling people that enough is enough. I don't know. This is the thing. We don't want to be rude, right? We don't want to be rude and cut people off, but quite honestly, I think we'd be better off if we could just kind of cut people short and just not rudely, but just like, I'm so sorry. I just have to stop you because I feel like we're delving in the past. I'm a person who likes to talk about the present and the future. Can we talk about that? I want to try it. Right? This is getting curious about me and what I do and what my tendencies are to like listen to people just drone on and on. My patience is getting real thin for that. Real fine for that. Super fine. Okay. So the first thing we do is we get curious, right? I'm going back to my little thing here just to remind me. You could give up fear, doubt, and worry because you know that they bring you more of what you don't want. Now, I know that a tendency of fear and worry and anxiety doesn't feel like you have a choice. And especially if you've been diagnosed with some kind of anxiety disorder or depression or whatever. I'm an anxious person. I have panic attacks. All these things that you identify with are not helping you, right? They're not helping you. By putting your anxiety more powerful than you are, you can't gain power over it. So to me, you're better off just being like, oh, okay, there's that thought that could make me anxious. You're better off being an observer and separating yourself from the anxiety and saying, I am not anxiety. I am not an anxious person, right? Or like people who say, oh, I have social anxiety. Well, guess what? As soon as you get in a social environment, you're going to be anxious because you say you have social anxiety. It's like you're pre-paving that, right? It's like a predisposition to it because you're inviting it in. So instead, a really great tip when it comes to like social anxiety, this is like changing the tendency of that or any kind of anxiety is to pre-pave the situation. So if you know you're going out or if you know you're going to be with a certain group of people, it's seeing yourself there, laughing, getting along, feeling like you belong, telling funny jokes, people talking to you back and forth, like actually seeing it in your mind's eye and feeling it is going to help to prepave the energy so that you feel calmer walking into it. And then it's having, little things to say like, I am a great conversationalist. I ask great questions. That's like one of probably the main reasons why I don't have social anxiety is because I ask great questions and people love talking about themselves. A couple of my great questions are, where'd you grow up? Right? What do you do for a living? What's your favorite restaurant? I like to ask that around here so we can find new restaurants. What's your favorite place that you've ever lived? What's your favorite place that you've ever visited? I mean, there's so many questions, but you can't access that little question portal if you're anxious because your anxiety blocks the wisdom that can flow. So you got to get rid of the anxiety. How do you do that? By separating yourself, creating that space. Having a meditation practice will help you to not be an anxious person anymore, right? I'm zen, I'm chill. I sit down every day and I create some space between me and my thoughts. So I know that there's this world inside of me that's not chaotic. And I'm building a foundation for that world inside of me that's not chaotic. Best thing you can do, best thing you will ever do is create that world of peace inside of you because it's going to allow you to receive. It's going to allow you to create new energy and new signals. It's going to clear your slate so that you're more intuitive, right? So that you can hear your intuition. So many good benefits. All right, I'm going to pop into my book talk here. So we got a couple of books for you. Mindful Manifestation Secrets. This one is about our story, and I do have the QR codes. Let's pull those up. I think that's this one. Okay, there's the QR code, so you can find it on Amazon. Mindful Manifestation Secrets is a super quick read. It's our story. It's all the miracles that happen to us, but it's also the exact breakdown of how energy works and how to manifest, especially if you're looking to make big moves, big quantum leaps. This will give you the instruction manual to that. And it's a fun read. There's lots of miracle stories and things like that. It'll help build confidence. I've had a lot of people manifest stuff from reading this. This is also available on Audible. I actually read it on Audible. We have Quantum Speak for Parents. This is the energetic parenting story. And I'm putting up these QR codes for you. You can check these out on YouTube or on E360 because Amazon sometimes hides my books. So Quantum Speak for Parents, this is all about energetic parenting. And also if you're dealing with an elderly parent, this will help you navigate that process as well. This is 32 years of figuring it out with my 4 daughters and the incredible relationships that we have built from this. Super proud of. Okay, and here's your spiritual book, The Perfect Unfolding for the Expansion of Your Soul. This will give you lots of incredible information about the spirituality part of manifesting, and there's lots of guided messages in here. This was definitely super channeled. This book flew through me. It literally flew through me, and it's such a beautiful book. I love the cover, and I love I love the information that came through. It really is a great guide to your life and to understanding the spiritual side of life. And then my awesome journal. This makes a really great gift as well. This is a hardcover, so it's a little more expensive, but you really need the QR code because this one they buried. I got to call them. I know I keep saying that. This one it's 100 pages. So it's a daily guide to being in a high vibration, but then it also has like a bunch of journaling pages and writing prompts. And it's a beautiful book. This one I'm probably most proud of as far as like aesthetics goes. It's just a gorgeous read. Yeah, it's great. Forever Becoming the Better Version of You. And there's the QR code for that one. And then I have a QR code if you ever want to support the show. This is the QR code to support the show. It's this Buy Me a Cup of Coffee. You can donate $5, $20, $100 a month to support the show for the energetic exchange of us being here together, of me exchanging energy with you, especially if you've been listening for a while and it's really made an impact in your life and you feel called to support what is impacting your life. We like to think of it as like tithing. You know, they always talk about tithing in church, and just supporting what feeds you spiritually is really important as far as like energetic exchange goes. Like, I don't need the money. It's just part of like the currency that is created between us. So I have plenty of abundance, plenty of currency coming. I can feel it all the time. It's a beautiful flow of energy in my life, but this is just another way for you to be part of that currency and part of the flow of energy in the universe that connects with what I'm teaching. Hang on, I got a cat that wants to come in. She loves to do this when I'm in the middle of a show. Because Lulu is a showgirl. Hello, dear. She's a showgirl and she likes to be on camera. So she wants to come in the room whenever I'm on camera. Okay. So this is your path to curiosity, your path to changing cycles, your path to understanding why you're here, which is really about stepping into this confident, worthy, and trustworthy place, a place where you can be faithful, where you can connect with the faith that moves mountains, where you can understand that you are an expression of this energy that creates everything, that has created everything. So that when you have a thought, when you have a desire, that's more life being called through you. That's not something to be miserable about. That's not something to push away. Your dreams are not something that just went to the side and died. They're still there. It's still possible, no matter what age you are, to realize them with new energy, with a little shift in your belief system, with a new new attention. Like if it's gotten so like back burnered and old, and like there's a lot of dust on it, we can create something brand new. This is what I want to do. This is who I want to be now. Like this is a new chapter in my life. A new beginning starts right now. And that new beginning starts with your curiosity. It starts with your intention. It starts with the questions, right? It always starts with a question of like, what's next for me? I'm so excited for what's next. I can't wait to see what's next. I am here ready to receive what's next. And then it's watching the energy field for the next thing, the next opening, the next phone call, the next person you bump into, the next opportunity to present itself. And it's being awake to that. It's being looking for that, right? So you can notice it, so you can see it. We went out to dinner on St. Patrick's Day. We went to our favorite Irish restaurant. There's a restaurant called Dublin 4 here, and we go to the wine work side. They have a wine work side, it's called. And there was a rainbow. It was like super crazy, beautiful, sunny day, and all of a sudden it started raining, and then there was this rainbow, and like everybody's outside and taking pictures, and I'm like, it's so cool to be a noticer of this, like to notice this really awesome stuff that's all around us, these signals, right, from this divine counterpart that we have, that's just like, and you can say whatever you want about rainbows. I just always feel like they're magical. And being on St. Patrick's Day, I thought it was so cool. It's like, where's the pot of gold? And this restaurant opened 13 years ago on St. Patrick's Day. So I felt like that was a super, really cool miracle and magical for them. So it's being in that magic of life. Here comes Lou. Okay. Do you want to say hi? Here, everybody wants to see your face. There she is. She does not like being manhandled. She likes to do her own thing. Lulu, she's a showgirl. So being awake to that, being aware of the energy that's around you so that you can create with it. Because if you're just in business mode and you've got your blinders on and you're just in your checklist and your to-do list and your life really sucks and I just got to get it done list, you're not going to be available for the cool people you could meet, or the smile on the street, or the rainbows and the magic. The other night we went out to dinner. I don't know if I shared this or not. I can't remember if I did a show after this. I don't think I did. No, I didn't. There were 1,000 pelicans. I have never seen anything like this, and I was so jazzed by it. So we're sitting in this beautiful restaurant that we haven't been to in a really long time, and it literally is like right on the Pacific Ocean. And it's gorgeous, and the sun's gorgeous, and it's just the food, everything was like so good, right? And then all of a sudden, these pelicans in this incredible formation are over us, and there's thousands of them, and they just keep coming and coming and coming. And we're like, and everyone is noticing. And it's just like, I'm so in awe of stuff like that when it happens. I really am. It's never lost on me. So I look up the pelican totem, and it literally is exactly what we're doing in our business right now, which is community support, raising everybody else up for the team, the support of the team. Like, it was so spot on to what we're doing in our life. It was fantastic. So get more like that. Get more into the fantastic of life, of what it's looking to show you. Because if you're just getting by and you're just in survival and you're just in reaction, you're in a low level of creating. And we want to be at the highest vibration of creating possible. We want to be in the highest realms possible so that we can be in this ease and flow, and so that we can process the lessons a little more intentionally and a little easier. We can do it both ways. It's just, do you want to do it hard, or do you want to do it a little easier, a little more fun? I personally want to do it a little more fun. So getting into that a little more fun energy, a little more lighthearted, a little more interested, a little more excited, all of that is going to serve you so well. And knowing that you are part of this infinite creation, that you are part of the divine intelligence, is a huge piece of knowing the worthiness and the love and the trust and the faith of who you are, like trusting yourself, being honest with yourself so you can trust yourself, showing up for yourself, meeting your promises, and really following through for yourself. That's going to pay off big time. That creates a lot of currency. And the kindness and the love and the compassion that you are is big dividends in the world that we live. We need more of it. All right, you guys, I love y'all. Peace out.